In the last episode, I discussed atheism and how, by exploring the philosophical argument from design, I had concluded that atheism is not reasonable. If you missed episode 4 of Kitchen Table Theology, Atheism Part 1, please go and watch it and then come back. There are many other really good philosophical arguments that demonstrate how atheism is unreasonable. Just a few examples include the argument from first cause, the argument from conscience, the argument from history, the argument from desire. I plan to explore these in more depth later, but for now I just want to step back a little bit and dig deeper into the roots of my personal philosophical foundation. Underlying the question of how everything came to be is the basic question: what is everything anyway? In the first semester of my freshman year in college, I took Philosophy 101. I don't recall his name, but the professor really astounded me. We spent a whole week just arguing, is it possible that a chair is still in the room after everyone has left and there's no one there to see it? He made very good arguments refuting that no matter how reasonable it may seem to assume that the chair is there when there's no one there to see it, there's no way to absolutely prove it. That rocked my world. If I can't prove that a chair stays put, what can be proved? On the exam, the last question was, what does philosophy prove? I answered that philosophy proves that you can't prove anything. The idea behind the whole exercise was to demonstrate that at some philosophical level, one must make reasonable assumptions about things. Being a very skeptical person by nature, I was a bit shaken by the idea that it was so difficult to prove seemingly obvious things. I gave that a lot of thought, and I came to this conclusion. I am 100%, absolutely, totally certain of just two things. The first thing I know for sure is that I exist. René Descartes said it best. I think, therefore I am. Now, I may not be able to convince my old philosophy professor that I am, but I know it. I'm me. And you should know as well that you exist. Unless, of course, you don't. The second thing that I know for certain is that something else exists. I can't prove much about it for sure, but there is something that is not me. So I know it's there. It could be the world as I perceive it to be, or it could be an illusion. But only those two things do I know to be true beyond a shadow of a doubt. Everything else is faith. One could philosophically argue against anything indefinitely until you argue it down to those two basic facts. So how do I know that everything that I perceive isn't just an illusion? I don't. The one thing that I know for certain as being me could be just a blob of matter floating in a petri dish somewhere. That other thing that I know for certain as being something else, it could be an alien stimulating the blob of matter in the petri dish with electrodes, creating the illusion that I perceive as being reality. As ridiculous as all that may seem, you can't prove that it's not the truth. Have you seen the movie The Matrix?
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to the real world.
If you're an atheist because you think it is unreasonable to accept anything that can't be proven, well, then maybe you should do some more thinking. A worldview based on not believing anything that can't be proven isn't really very deep, because you really can't prove much. So what's it going to be? You take the blue pill and go back to believing whatever you want to believe, or take the red pill and question everything. Search for the truth.